can see, we have a designated hashtag if you want to, tweet about this event, and we can all read it back once we're done. I'll start with introducing myself, and the rest will introduce themselves as well. I am Sanne Vliegenthart. On YouTube, I am known as Books and Quills, where I have a YouTube channel with 68,000 subscribers and over 4 million views. And I also work at Hotkey Books as the digital coordinator.
Hi, my name is Rosianna. My YouTube channel is youtube.com/Rosianna. By day, I'm John Green's personal assistant, but by night I do video blogging and all that other stuff as well. And my channel has 35,000 subscribers and over 3.5 million total views.
Hi, my name is Lena Normington. I have a channel called Just Kiss My Frog. I have about 18,000 subscribers at the moment, and I'm not organised enough to look at my view count like these lovely ladies on my left. By day, I work for Icon Books, which is a non-fiction trade publisher. I am the digital and publicity executive there.
Hi, my name is Clarissa Pabi. I'm the consumer outreach and marketing coordinator at eBree Publishing, which is a Penguin Random House Group publishing company. And sadly, I have 0 subscribers and 0 views because I don't have a channel. But the eBree Publishing channel actually has 5,000 subscribers and over 5 million views.
So today we're going to be talking you through several things. We're going to start out by just kind of explaining what a booktuber is and what they do. Then Clarissa will talk about an amazing project that she has set up with a bunch of booktubers, including us. And then finally we'll have 5 do's and 5 don'ts for publishing companies who want to work with booktubers. So first of all, I'm curious, how many of you have ever seen a booktube video? Raise your hands. Ooh, excellent. How many of you own a booktube channel? Yeah, just a couple. Okay, good. So to kind of get an idea of what booktube videos are like, we're gonna play a short clip.
So for today's book review, I will be talking about Carrie by Stephen King. I will also be doing the movie reviews, the original 1976 Carrie film, as well as the newest remake that was released this year, 2013. So let's get started with what Carrie is all about.
Hi everyone, today I'm going to talk about More Than This by Patrick Ness, which had a huge marketing campaign, so you might have seen this on adverts in the tube station and also just out and about on displays. It physically is a very beautiful book. It's about this big and it has a little hole in the cover. We're going to talk about borrowing books and lending out books, which is a thing that we both do, and I think it needs some discussing. Definitely. We have different approaches to it. Very different approaches. Hello everybody, today I'm going to be doing a book haul, and I am extremely excited because I have some great books to share with you today. The theme for this book haul is branching out. In my last discussion video, I talked about how I want to branch out of just reading YA fiction, so this is going to reflect that.
We think vlogging may have started in about 2006, which basically means you address a camera and record whatever thoughts you have and upload them to the internet for anybody to see. A lot of people call these vloggers. We've also been called YouTubers. They both make sense, both are completely viable terms. But in the last 2 to 3 years, there's been an upsurge of people who upload videos just discussing books, or primarily. So in the past 2 to 3 years, we started calling these booktubers. It's just a phrase that's been coined. So feel free to use that in your professional lives. It is the correct term. People ask me quite a lot. So yeah, we've been having a lot of fun. It's a ridiculously high growth rate at the moment, and it's definitely a very, it still feels like a very new community comparatively on the interwebs. So yeah.
So there are lots of different formats that booktubers would use when making their YouTube videos, and some of them don't stick to a format at all. But some ideas are bookshelf tours, which are really popular, and these can be done kind of every 6 months or so, depending on the rate of your book consumption. Book reviews, obviously, as we've kind of seen a few of those there. And book hauls, which is when you go out and go to a bookshop or to a publishing event and you come back with loads of books and you just want to talk through quickly your first impressions of it, why you got it, maybe through a recommendation, all that sort of thing. Monthly wrap-ups and to be read, so those are all the books that you have your eye on, all the books that you read in the past month. And then tags, which is quite native to the YouTube platform in its current existence, I guess. There are things like the rainbow tag, the book sacrifice tag, which is where you have to decide which book you would use as a weapon during a zombie apocalypse. And then most recently things like the top 10 influential books tag, book spines tags, and the blindfold book challenge, where you're blindfolded and you have to try and work out which book it is by the feel. So it's really great because people tag other booktubers and it creates a big chain, and it's very easy, very discoverability wise. You can go on, search for it on the YouTube search feature, and all these videos will pop up.
So I wanted to give you a little kind of look behind the scenes of what goes on behind the YouTube video. So most people who are booktubers film everything themselves. They just put a camera on a tripod, sit down, talk to the camera, edit it themselves, upload it themselves, kind of promote it themselves, and have a direct relationship to their community and through their viewers. And people will comment on the videos and they will talk to them a lot, and this happens on Twitter and Tumblr and other kinds of social media as well. So it's a very kind of tight-knit community. And for this moment, there are no people that are doing this as a full-time job. There are YouTubers in general who have made YouTube a full-time job, which you can do by becoming a YouTube partner and making money off of advertising. But there's no booktuber at the moment who's doing it, so everyone who's a booktuber is doing this as a hobby. Most people are students or still in high school or have a full-time job, and that's kind of a very important thing to realize, that people are doing this after they come home from work or from school, and they might be up editing until midnight, for example. They do make kind of a small amount of money, and one of the things that a lot of people do is that they're part of an affiliate scheme. The book depository is very popular at the moment, where if you create a video, you can have an affiliate link that you put in the description of your video, and then whenever someone buys a book there, doesn't matter which one it is, you get a small cut of that purchase. So that's kind of how people can also track how many books they've sold. So to kind of give an example, I recently did a video about Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, and I could see that in the first day 10 people had clicked on the link and purchased the book directly. And over the last, I would say, year and a half, I've sold about 1,500 books through that link directly. So it's nice to be able to kind of track those kinds of things. And then Clarissa will kind of talk about a project she has done.
Yeah, so before I talk about it, I just want to give a bit of, I guess, context and just sort of echo a lot of what's been said so far. So I think that booktubers or YouTubers who have a particular interest in books are really important for publishers for two main reasons. And the first is that it seems that social video is the next kind of stage of social media. And I think you see that from things such as social media companies who aren't traditionally associated with video investing in it, so like Twitter launching Vine, or even as recent as Facebook's acquisition of the video virtual reality technology company Oculus Rift. And I think why this is all really important for publishers is that booktubers in this community have really mastered that area of where books and social video meet. And I think you can see that from the many different types of videos you see, as Rosie was talking about, and the extraordinary stats that Sanne's just mentioned. So I wanted to work on a project with some booktubers which really capitalised on that mastery, that
idea that this is a really creative community and they do a lot of interesting things. So I worked with 6 YouTubers, 3 of who are on this panel today, on the first ever book-themed Secret Santa to take place on YouTube. And we worked together. Each of the 6 YouTubers created 2 videos. Collectively there were 12, and collectively they had over 600,000 views over a period of a month. And the inspiration for it came because I have grown up watching YouTube. I watch these videos religiously, and the whole idea of tagging and the collaborative aspect of YouTube was really what inspired me to want to work on a project like this. So with our Secret Santa, had a slight twist. So usually with Secret Santa, it's about a group of people get together and they're trying to guess who their presents are from. And with the Secret Santa we organised, it was about trying to guess who the books were for. So it was about working with a group of YouTubers who had all been partnered with another YouTuber, and they couldn't reveal who it was. So the community got really excited and were sort of trying to guess who were the books for. And the way we organised it was I initially sent out some books to each of the YouTubers for their nominated Secret Santa, and their challenge was to sort of talk about the books and say whether they thought they were right for that person, and also they had to sort of go out into bookshops and get some more books to add to the bundle and then sort of send that off. So it was a really exciting project because it really got to the heart of like what YouTube is about, kind of community and sharing and promoting each other. And I think that was, it also had behind it, we worked with Books in My Bag and to really sort of further that ethos of books, celebrating bookshops. So the booktubers had to go into bookshops and gather the books. And I think it was really successful from the engagement. We had a lot of buzz on social media, a lot of people interacting, the comments on everyone's videos, also a sort of article in the bookseller, so really sort of appreciated from the trade and the industry as well as the community. And we just wanted to do something really fun and really engaging, and I think, yeah, that sort of did happen with that project.
And from our side as well, we're all close friends, so we got to kind of keep it a secret for each other. So we would go off on a secret book hunt to buy some books in a bookshop, bring them home, not tell the other person what we bought, and then kind of figure out if one of us was each other's Secret Santa. And it gave us an opportunity to make 2 videos. Basically, if you can provide someone with a video idea, that was really fun. We got to go out, we had a voucher to spend some money on some books, which in itself is already fun. But then you get to give them to someone else and kind of interact with that person. And some of the YouTubers that we worked with, we had no contact with before, so this also gave us an opportunity to talk to them for the first time.
And I think as well, what was really, and I'd encourage you to all watch these videos, so if you just type in Books in My Bag, Secret Santa, you'll find them. And they're all really different, and that was one of the key things. Like everyone who was involved helped shape the idea. We spoke individually about, you know, how we think it could work for the audience. We spoke about just really sort of simple ideas, like Sanne gave me a brilliant suggestion, which was really simple, to include, you know, wrapping paper, include everything that they would need to do it, and stuff like that. So I think the idea that they were all different and in all of their personal vlogging styles, and it didn't feel artificial, it didn't feel forced, it was very natural and really engaging, I think.
So the next question, I guess, is if start doing this strange skill that we're like, what is this? So the secret is, I'll let you know, guys, you already have all of these skills. Like if you work in publicity, you're already doing this, and hopefully a really successful rate. So I am a publicity executive at my publisher, and I obviously know there's a kind of very historical etiquette set that you approach other kind of outlets and newspapers and traditional publicity streams. And basically I'd say to TLDR, the same applies. And basically what Sanne said is that, yeah, we do this for fun, emphasis on fun always. And while I'm always honoured to be approached by anybody for a publishing house, I have seen the other side of it, and I am obviously aware of how much the actual print price of a book is. So in some ways I don't want to waste people's review copies. If I'm not going to review, I try not to accept it, or I make people aware that, right, I will accept it, but I'm not necessarily going to review it because this is my free time. So I've got some kind of don'ts. So I've been elected to be the disciplinary. So consider this your warning. No, they're just friendly, like kind of handles that we all kind of agreed are things we all feel. The first one is don't push. Like, obviously it's great that people approach us, but it does happen more frequently than maybe some people imagine. And while I read every single submission, I can't necessarily accept each one, and I'm not, honestly, I'm not in the market for every single email. So yeah, there's that, and also even if I do read it and I want to review it, it's going to be when we have time outside of our own personal lives and our own work lives are obviously more important. So we can't necessarily, I never promise to review a book by a certain time or by a certain schedule. So yeah, that's something that we've come across before.
Just to kind of give a general idea, I sometimes get 3 or 4 requests a day. So obviously I can't not accept all of them, and you're always going to have to pick the books that you like. And it's happened before that I would say that I didn't have time to review a book, and I would get another email. And then if I did accept it, I would get an email asking me, have you read it? Have you read it now? How about now? And that happens quite frequently.
Absolutely. Yeah. The second one is unsolicited books. So obviously a lot of the time we give away our personal addresses or sometimes our work addresses. So obviously we're very happy to accept anything that we've explicitly said that we'd like to read and we'd like to take from you. But I do receive every now and then unsolicited books that come to my home address or my work address, and it can be viewed by other people in the profession as unprofessional. So that's obviously something, whereas we are different to traditional newspapers and stuff in that that's not our job. We don't have, and you also run the risk of also us giving them away to people who aren't going to review them, or yeah, they end up in piles, and that's sad for you guys because I know how limited proof copies are. So yeah. Number 3, while I obviously have an emotional attachment to my publisher and we all love our publishing houses, not everybody is a special snowflake, and while I think every book will find its perfect readers, just because I am 23 and a girl does not mean that just pitching something as a YA dystopian novel is going to make me go, yeah, that sounds great. You know, I genuinely believe there's something really special about every single book. So let me know that. Like, I don't really need to, like, just the shelf marking isn't enough for me to go, yeah, give it to me. I really want to know. I mean, up to this point in the year, in 2014, I've read about 18 to 20 books. So realistically, I'm only going to read about 80 books this whole year. So let me know why you think that this is appropriate for us and for me. And if it's not appropriate for me, that's cool. And we might be able to point you in the direction of somebody who is appropriate for. So yeah, sorry, I'm rambling on.
I might add something to that.
Yeah?
The kind of language that's used in these emails a lot is, we have this great opportunity for you. You have the chance to review this book. You should be really excited about it, and we might even give you a copy to give away. And that's one of those things, like, everyone tries to kind of pretend that they're doing us a favor. Well, actually, very often, like, obviously it is really nice and it's a privilege to receive these review copies, but what they're looking for is to kind of have our audience and have our voice. So, and you can be honest about that, and you don't have to kind of pretend to do someone a favor.
Yeah, and I definitely think our viewerships are things that, you know, they're modest, but they are something that we've built up in our own time, and I think branding is important here, and our integrity is important, so we're not going to review anything we don't think is genuinely very good. So yeah. Yeah, and another thing is, don't always look for the biggest YouTubers or booktubers and just send them lots of stuff. Like, it's not necessarily numbers. Like, if you find the right audience, it's more the ratio of viewers that will see that and go like, yeah, that's my kind of book. They've reviewed it really well. Like, this is spot on. This is my genre. This is my corner of the world. So I think you don't always have to look at numbers. You can also just look at who really cares about those books and who has read stuff very similar to it and would care about it. Because and you never know which booktubers are going to blow up, and then you're obviously in their video feed as one of the first things they've reviewed. So, you know, I'd always give, like, smaller booktubers a chance, because you never know who's going to be on top in the end. So yeah, and then the last one, yes, Like I said again, I do read YA, not the only thing I read. I do read dystopia, not the only thing I read. I need adjectives. There's always, I think we get a lot of emails that are like, this is really exciting. This is a coming of age story, and they are, and they're very exciting, and they're all coming of age stories, but I'd love to know, I'd love to hear more, and when I think I would develop a relationship with a publicity person or something that I really trust, and who only recommends me stuff that I obviously would like on some level, then I think it's definitely more productive for both parties, and I think it's definitely a collaboration, it's mutually exclusive, it's mutually beneficial for just to take that time to maybe only send 5 booktubers a offer, but they're the right booktubers. Yeah, I hope that wasn't too harsh.
So I'm going to be the positivity train here and give you 5 do's, and a lot of them will of course cross over, especially the first one, which is about doing your research with the people that you're contacting. It's essential that you, as much as possible, look through their previous videos just to get a taste of what they like, and even if they've explicitly said in a video, I really don't like this genre, don't think of that necessarily as a closed door, and just be aware in your email and your outreach to them, I know you don't like this genre traditionally, like new adult or so on, but give this one a shot maybe, or this is why you should give this one a chance. So that's my first point. The second point is to have a designated contact. We all know that when we're contacting Ebury, it's Clarissa we'll be talking to. When we contact Quirk, it's Eric Smith. We know our contact points, and it's just easy to have that, but it's also, you really feel like you have a rapport with the publishing company, you feel comfortable approaching them for any questions, and I feel like more opportunities will come out of that when the individual feels like they can approach you easily. Give YouTubers things to work with. Materials are always short, so any kind of pictures or videos or events for them to film at, just anything that they have an opportunity to make a video about is always a good idea. So when a book comes out, if you have a book trailer, if they can share that book trailer in their video, they might not necessarily be able to share the whole thing because the book trailer can be quite long. But just any sort of extra materials, just send them their way, and whether or not they choose to use them, I think you have the better chance if you give them more opportunities to film. A lot of people are doing several vlogs a week, and sometimes, especially when you're working a long day, it can be quite hard to think of what to put in a video, so anything that helps with that is definitely appreciated. And then find a broader theme to connect all these things to, so things like seasonal, Halloween lists, Christmas lists. If you know that there's a Books in My Bag campaign going on, maybe something about bookshops in general, just find those larger themes and stream things along those themes. And then the last point, the 5th point, is to share the content that YouTubers create and communicate and kind of acknowledge that they've created this thing. So whether that's tweeting a YouTube video review at the author, if the author has a Twitter, or tweeting it out even from your own publishing handle as well. Just kind of, it shows that you're active within the space, but it is also a really nice gesture towards the person who has created the video, especially if it's a really, really good review, to say, oh, I saw this, thank you for making this review, and kind of an implied way of saying we'd love to work with you in the future, and thanks for doing that. So yeah, those are the 5 do's, I would say.
Yeah, so gonna wrap up? Yeah, we're good. Okay. Yeah, we'll take questions. Just as a last thought, don't feel like BookTube isn't a space you're not allowed in. Like whatever age you are, however over the hill people say they are, there are a lot of young people involved in BookTube, but there's a lot of older people as well, and any age really, any gender. It's a very open community, and because it's so new, we're all very open. So feel free, if you are in publishing, or if you're not in publishing, to start a BookTube channel. That's okay. If you only upload 1 video, you're still part of the community. And I think also there's a lot of functions now on YouTube where I can see who my top commenters are and who has been watching all of my videos, and I always try and reply to those people because they are still part of the community. They don't necessarily make videos, but I've built up some really good friendships with people who have like messaged me, and you don't have to have a face on YouTube to be part of the community, and don't feel just because you're interacting with people in the professional world that you can also have a kind of personal enjoyment of BookTube. It's still a place that you're very welcome, and yeah, and I also just think from a professional perspective, it's a great opportunity. It's a great kind of FaceTime opportunity for things to be shared on other social media. It's something that spreads not just through YouTube, but it gets shared everywhere. Like any social network we can name, like BookTube it has a presence there because it's being shared so much and talked about. So yeah, I just think it's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity for us. This is how I met these guys. When I moved to London, I already had like a place to live, and that's all because of BookTube. And I think that's really great. And yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes from here. But yeah, we're going to take questions.
Hi, I just wanted to ask, do you ever take indie or self-published books?
As a rule, I have it on my channel specifically, is that I don't take self-published books. And part of it is that I work at a publishing company and I know how much work goes into the editing as well. And there's so many books that I want to read and already have such a huge selection that I have to cut it off at some point. I still get emails that say, I know you don't review self-published books, but would you like to review my self-published book? And it's just, some people do. There are plenty of booktubers that do and that are happy to receive just PDFs and things like that, and it's just like a personal decision, but I don't do it personally.
Yeah, I'd say the same. Like I have read one or two, but in the same way, I really value the curation of a publishing house. And while I do think self-publishing is really valuable, it's just not something that I found has been the most beneficial to my reading experience. Whether that's anything from cover to editing to yeah, just kind of thematically and how things fit in a market. Yeah, it's something that I don't generally do.
Yeah, it's kind of the same with me, but a big focus on my channel is bricks and mortar bookstores, because I worked at the Lion and Unicorn bookshop in Richmond for 5 years when I was growing up, and so in every opportunity I'm like, go to a bookshop and buy this, and obviously that's not as easy to do if it's self-published, but if it's kind of a smaller indie and it has found some distribution, especially in London, then it is something I'll consider, but it all comes down to the pitch email at the end of the day.
Other questions? Yeah, in the back,
I just want to ask, is there any particular software that you'd recommend for editing?
I just use iMovie, the one that's kind of come with my Mac, but it's slightly frowned upon by people like Sanne on my left here. That's not true. I edited on Windows Movie Maker for like a good 3 to 4 years, which used to crash every 3 seconds. So if you can get any free software, the only thing you need is to be able to cut and paste. That is all you need. You don't need to insert fancy book covers or things like that. Like, if you want to start out, I would definitely suggest don't invest in any editing software yet. See how you get on, and then maybe like a year into it, you can buy something. Because I use Final Cut Pro now, but I used Windows Movie Maker for 3 years.
As a Windows user, I'd say like I did not want to invest a lot of money either, and I don't think it's worth it at our level of filmmaking. But I did buy Sony Vegas, which is usually about £30 for a disc off eBay, and it works really well. So I'm glad I spent that money, so I don't have to have like a dodgy program that keeps crashing. But it wasn't a huge investment. That's the question.
I just wanted to say thank you, because I think that YouTube's really exciting. I think publishers are struggling with how to engage with YouTube fans and make their books exciting. I think for years and years, television companies have struggled to make books exciting on TV, and here all of you are sharing your passion and your love of books, and I think it's brilliant, so carry on.
Thank you. I don't really know if there's a question there, but yeah. Cool. Yeah, no, thanks.
I just want to know if you have a channel, like a group for all of you, like where you get together online. Does that make sense?
This is where I get to tell my embarrassing story of how I started YouTube. I made my very first video as an audition video for a collaboration channel, which would, like 7 girls in total, about Twilight, which was in 2008. That's how I started, and we would make a video every day of the week, and I think it was Wednesday, I can't remember, and we would all just pick a theme or a general book, and we would talk about that, and kind of, I think, the high time of the collaboration channels was a couple of years ago, but there's definitely still an opportunity for people to do that, and especially if you start out and you need that motivation and have some friends to keep you going, and it's not just you on the channel, which can be a bit scary. I think it's definitely a great idea, and there's definitely space for that.
And also, we don't have shared channels, but we do appear on each other's channels. So you'll see that if you look us up, you'll be like, oh, what's she? Okay, why is she in her living room? So yeah, we do appear on each other's channels.
That kind of leads me on to my question a bit. So, how did you get started on YouTube? I remember watching like Greetings from an L like years ago, but yeah, how did you get started as well?
For me, it was kind of the story that I already told, so I'm going to pass the mic on.
I started in 2006. My first videos were all about Harry Potter and how excited I was about Harry Potter and devastated that it was all coming to a close, and would everyone forget about it? Obviously not. And that's how I started. But then it did get a little bit bigger when more people started coming into the space, because obviously when I started, the big dream was having 100 subscribers. When more people came to the space, there were more people to collaborate with, there were more tags, there were more people to just be part of this community with, everyone commenting on everyone else's videos, and that's when it really kicked off for me.
I guess mine's a little bit different in that I started a lot later. I started in my first year of university when I kind of already was aware of the community. And as weird as it sounds, because we're really good friends now, I used to watch these guys and be like, oh, that's so cool. But I started at university when the community was already definitely on its way there, because I lived in a 8-person flat and all of the other 7 people were very introverted and I was very bored.
When Rosianna and I started as well, there was no such thing as BookTube. It didn't exist. There were hardly any people making videos about books. And I know when I started my channel, I had no, even though it was called Books and Quills, had no intention of talking about books specifically. Yes, it would come up occasionally because I like it. And then I think once I did a book review, I did the 50 book challenge, where I tried to read 50 books in a year. I talked about that, and I got a lot of comments on it. I was like, oh, and I did another video of books, and people just responded to it in such a positive way that slowly that just kind of took over my entire channel.
Hi, I subscribed to your channel, so it's cool to meet you. And I wanted to ask, what's your favourite book that you've read this year, so all of you collectively?
I recently read a graphic novel called The Encyclopedia of Early Earth, and it's already in my top 5 of books that I've read this year, even though I've only read 11 so far. It's this beautiful graphic novel which kind of talks about just like the stories that people come up with about how the world has started, and all these myths and legends, and it's just beautiful. And also it smells really great, which is a bonus point.
I actually just finished Boy Snowbird by Helen Naomi, and it was amazing. So I change my favourite book of the year every other week. I mean, it happens very quickly. I also love the Strange Beautiful Stories of Ava Lavender. I love the Cyrus, which these guys publish as well. So yeah, just everything, really. I love them all.
I'd say definitely has to be The Virgin Suicides. And then I also recently reviewed a book that is quite little known, and I've just met the publishers and they're really cool. And it's called I've lived in East London for 86.5 years, and it's a kind of photography and kind of story book, and it's beautiful. I recommend it.
What do you do to build your audiences, and how effectively can you do that?
Well, mine started off as a lot of micro friendships, so just really relating to other people who are making videos who had the same kind of viewer count as me, just a lot of socializing, just trying to make good content, really trying to think it through, although if you go and watch my channel you might not actually see much evidence of that because I'm kind of lax. But yeah, definitely kind of trying to make good content and making sure you spread it, so just like hashtagging it and tagging it with the right things, so if people want, it's really for the people who would want to view it, make sure they can find it, you know? That's how I would say.
Yeah, for me recently especially, I've become very conscious of the fact that so many YouTube viewers are watching on their phones. So things like thumbnails that are really clear. Once you're in the YouTube partner program, where you have ads on your videos, you get some of the revenue from, you can put custom thumbnails. And so big clear writing on that. Also titles. If you're reviewing a book, you should definitely have the title and the author of the book in your title of your video. and repeat that title as well in the description. Just like tiny things like that make such a huge difference in terms of discoverability. The final thing I found is schedule. I, as much as possible, try to upload on the same days every week. YouTube is such a big space now. There are so many different creators that you need to have your audience know when they can find you on your channel, whether that's through keeping a close eye on your Twitter or literally uploading at the same time 3 days a week or how many days a month, just so that, yeah, they know where to find you.
I feel like for me it was two things. It was consistency. Like, I've been making videos for about 5 years now, and I think I've posted about a video every 3 to 4 days for those 5 years without skipping a week. And just knowing that there's this steady stream of content coming out, people will return to your channel if they've already been watching. Even if they're not subscribed, they can come back because they know there will be new content. And another thing that has really helped me, that I didn't really do on purpose in the beginning, but then you kind of notice that it works, is kind of to go with some of the formats that already exist. So like a bookshelf tour is very popular, and people will search for a bookshelf tour just on YouTube in general, and they might stumble upon your channel and then subscribe and keep watching. So if you kind of take those tags and themes, and obviously have a lot of original content as well, but if you can kind of go with certain themes that people will be looking for, that helps a lot as well.
I think for, I guess, publishers as well, trying to engage with the community and with booktubers, I think helping them to create really engaging content, so having using what's already out there but thinking of new ideas as well, because as well as thinking about the YouTubers who are actually going to make the content, I think it's good to think about their audiences as well, and what will excite them and what will engage them. And I often find that the more creative the idea and the more sort of collaborative it can be, that's also a great way to create content, help them create the best content that is mutually beneficial for both, like your publishing brand with a book or the campaign you're working on, and also them as well.
Yeah, that's what I would add to as well. Like, I think sometimes there's a fine line between approaching somebody with a really good and original idea that you've thought about a lot, which is what Clarissa definitely did. And she was very collaborative about it. I was like, hey, I've got this idea. Do you think it would work? Let's go and have coffee. But there's also a thing, a comparison where somebody will just be like, here's the video you will do, could you do it? And or like, I've planned it all out for you, here it is. And that is the equivalent of going to the Telegraph and being like, hey, I've made this A4 spread of this advert, could you just put it in somewhere near the back? It won't take very long. Like, there's a line between like really being like, hey, we've come up with some really cool ideas we would like to work with you on, and being like, hey, have our content, can you just upload it? So yeah, no, I think there's definitely a space to like, there's a beautiful space in between that I think we got to. Yeah, definitely.
Just another thing about kind of growing your audience. Once you have content on your channel, or your publisher channel, or your individual channel, you should find a way to organize it that works. Playlists are really, really useful, especially when you've worked out what the key kind of categories people are looking at your channel for, and you can go into the Google Analytics and look through that briefly. But so mine, for example, is like books, travel, like fashion, kind of those basic sections. But what I see in a lot of publishers' channels when I go and visit them is they have an amazing repository of content, but no organization there. It just looks like a dump of videos. There's no kind of common formatting of titles, there's no tag, it's a mess. And it's such a shame, because you have all these incredible author interviews, or you have behind the scenes, all these great videos, but just no one, if you go to that channel, you'll just be like, what is going on here?
And so I think as well, what everyone's been saying is it's about investing the time. It is really important, and it takes time to organise, and it takes time to find the right people. And I think as publishers we should be investing in that, and we'll sort of see the fruits of all that labour, I think.
As publishers, we should be investing in the talent of people who know what they're doing, get them in-house, and get them to fix all of the problems that you're facing, like Sanne. But you can't have Sanne because she's ours.
Yes, exactly. So investing in the community.
Hi, Hi, I have two questions, if I may. The first question is, have any of you ever experimented with any other kind of mediums in your blogs, like talking about books or, sorry, not books, talking about apps or games or creating a kind of interactive story chain with other YouTubers? And my second question is, have you ever organised a sort of public meetup beyond meet as friends, but whiners often have public meetups where any other whiners who have just started can go to, so have you ever done something like that in a public space?
Definitely. So I think I'll start covering it, but I guess these guys also have a lot to say. So with the storyline thing, there is, well, it was more of a trend a few years ago, but people still do it, where it's kind of like a flowchart of videos. So you can have a public video, but you can also have an unlisted video, which means you can only see it if you have a link to it. So you could make, a lot of the time people do it with stories, but it's just kind of in the same way that in like teenage girl magazines, you'd be like, do you like boys with blue hair or brown eyes? And then you pick one, so you can have links, hyperlinks within your video to click, like this is what you want, this is what you want, and then you see another hidden video, and then within that you could have another option. And there are a lot of storytelling ways you definitely have been using YouTube. I haven't done it because it's complicated and I'm lazy, but it is definitely something that a lot of people do, and it definitely can be utilised in loads of different ways, and we definitely haven't utilised all those ways yet. Do you want to go?
I'm actually posting an interactive video this week, so it's a good coincidence. It's something that, like Lena said, was very popular a while ago when annotations were new, and it was like this new thing you could do, and sometimes people still use it. So for example, I'm doing a video called Blind Date with a Book, where I've wrapped up a couple of books, and there are just some general terms on it. So this is a book about science fiction and travel, and then I'm making people guess what the book is that's inside, and they can click on an annotation that's hovering over the book to go to another video where I unwrap the book and reveal which one it is and talk about it for a bit. So that's kind of an example. And when it comes to meetups, there have definitely been meetups. A YouTuber called Benjamin of Tomes recently organized a booktuber meetup in London, where they come together, go to a bookshop, have some dinner, chat, and they come from all over the country, not just from London. So that's definitely happening as well.
And the huge thing for me though, when I meet other YouTubers and when I meet my audience, is VidCon, and that's in Anaheim in the States. And it happens every single year, and it's like a 3-day convention, and it's all sorts of YouTube videos. It's not just BookTube, but it's the #1 place where you would go to connect with creators. And it's just a great environment. You come out of it feeling really creative because you spent your whole time with other people who do what you do and who work on amazing projects, whether that's within YouTube or more kind of high production content also distributed through YouTube. So it's a really, really fun time, and I would recommend it if you are looking to get to, I don't know, 20,000 people who are involved with YouTube, whether that's from the Grace Helbigs right down to someone who's just started their channel yesterday.
I think that was the last question because we've run out of time, unfortunately. Thanks so much for coming. If you want to hang around and have a chat with us, that'd be great, or we will be in the hashtag later as well, checking out all the tweets. Thank you so much for coming.